If you're a woman trying to build strength, protect your energy, and age well, creatine keeps coming up. But is it actually a strategic investment for your health or just another overhyped supplement? Today, we're putting creatine on trial, what it actually does, what it doesn't, and whether it belongs in a woman's wellness routine or if it's just better off in a bodybuilder's supplement stack. Let's get into it. Welcome to Wellness for High Performers, where ambitious people discover the path to sustainable wellness that actually feels good so they can build the dream without burning out. I'm your host, Erica Jones. I'm a wellness strategist and entrepreneur, and I help high performers create massive momentum by weaving wellness into their daily life. If you're new here, I'm Erica Jones, and I help high performers create momentum and energy by weaving wellness and longevity into their daily rhythm. And I want to open this episode with a quick story that will help create the context for my feelings about creatine. So, I've had low iron since I was a child, and when I was pregnant with my first baby, my midwife mentioned that I really needed to make sure that my iron levels were optimized. So I looked around for some supplements that could do that. And I started taking chlorophyll at the time. And it's super easy. You just pour it into water and it supports the body as a natural blood builder. And it worked so well for me that I continued to take the chlorophyll for years. And I still take it to this day. Well, a couple of years ago, I was online to order some and top off my supply because I was running low and it was sold out everywhere. I checked around a few places, even some stores that were local to me, and I realized that on some corner of the internet, chlorophyll had gone viral. Everybody was talking about its health benefits and everybody and their mama was ordering it, but I'm not sure they really knew why they were ordering it. So now, anytime I see a certain supplement or ingredient trending or going viral, my initial reaction is skepticism. And I felt the same way about creatine from the beginning, which is partially why I'm doing this episode. It's to satisfy my own curiosity to find out more about it because you see it talked about everywhere. So, welcome to the second episode of Wellness Trends on Trial. This is all about creatine for women. Is it helpful or is it a bunch of hype? Today, we're going to get into it. So, before we can judge creatine's effectiveness for women, we really need to understand what it is and what it's not. Creatine is a compound that comes from three amino acids. These are the building blocks of life, amino acids are. It's what our bodies use to make tissues, hormones, repair cells, and many other vital functions of the human body. Creatine itself is found in your body's muscles, it's also found in your brain. And you can get it from seafood and red meat, but the amount in these types of foods is way lower than what you would get in a supplement. So, how does your body actually use creatine? Well, your body uses creatine for energy. It helps regenerate ATP. That's the energy that's made inside of the cell. And it's most often used for short, demanding efforts like a workout, especially strength training or any sprint style effort you may embark on, especially when exercising. What creatine is not is it's not a fat burner. Fat burning may be a side effect for some women, but not for the reasons that you would think. It's not like a weight loss pill. And it's also not just for bodybuilders, even though that crowd is largely responsible for putting creatine on the map. So here's a few other things to keep in mind for women who are interested in taking creatine. Naturally, women have lower baseline creatine levels than men on average. Women also have less total muscle mass than men. And typically, women have a lower dietary creatine intake, especially if they eat less red meat than men. So, with all of this in mind, women may naturally have more opportunity to benefit from creatine because their baseline is lower. Creatine is probably most well researched for its strength training benefits, which we'll dive into shortly. My goal here is to help you decide if creatine is a supplement that you should add to your routine or one that's mostly full of hype. So, we're going to unpack three specific claims in this episode. Some of them are very well supported, some are overstated or misinterpreted, and others depend on what you're doing in the scope of your entire wellness routine. So, claim number one is that creatine will give you more energy. This claim is sometimes overstated, sometimes it's misinterpreted. As I mentioned earlier, creatine supports cellular energy or ATP. ATP, it's produced inside the cells. It's fast, usable energy that's great for short, intense, or demanding efforts like what you would encounter during a workout. So think about resistance training, sprints, interval training, that kind of thing. But it's not just for your workout that creatine can be effective. If you have mentally grueling work or times where you need deep focus and you need mental energy for that, which is very typical for a high performer, creatine can also be very helpful. It helps you recycle ATP more efficiently. So instead of running out of that mental or physical energy quickly, you can sustain your efforts for a bit longer and recover faster. It can also help you maintain your effort when demand is high, whether that demand is during your fitness routine or that demand is just during a typical day. Creatine really shines when it's used for strength training and when you need physical and mental power. It can also be very beneficial for busy, high capacity women who are often under recovered, that are under fueled, and chronically stressed, because this way of operating is a major stressor for your cellular energy. While creatine is not a magic fix for chronic stress, it can support cellular energy, making you more resilient against the physical and mental load that you may experience on a day to day. If you're wiped out, though, because you're sleeping terribly, you're skipping meals, you're undernourished, you're overcommitted, creatine is not going to resolve all of that on its own. It's not a substitute for health fundamentals. The other thing to note is that if you're considering using it for energy, it's not going to have the same effect that caffeine does. Not a stimulant. So it's not going to increase your adrenaline or make you feel amped up. So if you're taking it and you're expecting some kind of buzz, it's likely that you won't feel an immediate difference right away. But that doesn't mean that it's not working. It's just different from caffeine and stimulant. The bottom line here is that creatine supports overall cellular energy. It does not, quote unquote, give you energy in the sense that caffeine or a stimulant would. So that's the first claim. The second claim is that creatine builds muscle and helps you recover. This one is partially true, but it's one that's overstated because creatine itself does not build muscle, but its effects on building lean body mass are probably the most well documented of all the claims. So, the research shows that creatine, when it's combined with resistance training, improves strength and increases lean muscle mass in many populations. But the key words here are combined with resistance training. Now, if you're thinking, resistance training, I don't want to look like a meathead. I totally hear you because I don't either. But I am a strength trainer. I'm a resistance trainer. And you don't have to aim to be a bodybuilder to get benefits from resistance training. And I just want to dispel the myth that resistance training means that you're trying to get big and bulky and perform on stage in a swimsuit. It's not that for the vast majority of people. Resistance training is just a form of exercise that's designed to improve muscular strength and endurance by forcing your muscles to contract against an external force. And that external force can come from free weights like dumbbells, barbells, or kettlebells. You can use machines, you can use resistant bands, or even your own body weight. It's extremely healthy, though. It's especially healthy for slowing and reversing age related muscle loss, and it increases your bone density, which is something that women in particular need to hedge against as they age. Now, let's look at how creatine can benefit women specifically when it comes to strength training and toning. It can help you get 1 to 2 more reps in. This is especially important if you're lifting heavier. It can also help you maintain steady output across sets when you're working out, and it can help you to increase your weight load over time. So these are small daily wins, but they can translate into big gains if you're consistent. Now, with respect to recovery, creatine can help you bounce back from soreness after training. So, this can help you feel less drag in between workouts. It can help you be more consistent because your body feels better, it feels more recovered, and it can also increase your training frequency and capacity. So, the bottom line here is that creatine can help you build muscle, but it will not do the work for you. You need to use it alongside resistance training to see the lean muscle benefits. It's not a replacement for strength training, it's a complement to it. Okay, now let's get into claim number three. It's that creatine is great for menopause. This is a claim that's a little too broad. It can be used in menopause with some benefits, but it's not necessarily impactful for all aspects of menopause. So let's unpack this. With menopause, hormones are shifting pretty substantially, specifically estrogen and progesterone, which are declining to very low levels compared to where they typically are for the average woman during her years of fertility. And when these hormones shift, there's a risk of muscle loss that accelerates. So, sarcopenia becomes more of an increased risk as you age, especially after you go through menopause. Strength also decreases faster if you're not actively training and working to maintain and build up your strength. Bone density can drop as well. Your recovery capacity can decline and your risk of injury can go up. So, how does this relate to creatine? While your muscle and your bone health are deeply connected. I like Gabrielle Lyon a lot. She's a huge spokesperson for this, and I recommend checking her out if you're interested in learning more about bone and muscle health. And if you want to age with your autonomy intact for as long as possible, meaning you can live independently, you're strong enough to be mobile, to put your clothes on and bathe yourself without help, you really want to focus on your bone health and your muscle health as you age. And this is where creatine comes in. Creatine itself does not strengthen bones directly. It's more so that creatine supports your energy, your recovery, and your training volume so that you can work out in ways that strengthen your bones. So, by supporting stronger muscles, you're also supporting stronger bones. They're deeply connected, as I mentioned before. The key is that creatine should be combined with resistance training. This matters even more after menopause when muscle building becomes much more difficult, when recovery takes a lot longer, and injuries can derail your progress. It's also important to note that creatine does not balance hormones related to menopause. This is why statements like creatine is great for menopause can be really misleading because it doesn't act directly on hormones. Any benefit there would be more of an indirect benefit, if any at all. So the bottom line here is that creatine is helpful for menopause because it can help you exercise in such a way that you're able to promote lean muscle and bone health, which both decline once you reach menopause and the years after. So to recap, these are the most common claims for using creatine. People claim that it supports energy, recovery, building lean muscle, toning the body, and that it promotes healthy bones and health as you age. And everything that I've seen totally supports this. But it's essential that creatine is used alongside resistance training, not in place of it. You will not see big benefits if you're just taking creatine without consistently working out. Another thing to note is that it's not a substitute for health fundamentals. A lot of people think that they can buy wellness because we've been trained to think that. They think that it's something that they can add to cart, that they can take it through a supplement and be well on their way to living their best life. Well, it doesn't work that way. Supplements, including creatine, work best in combination with fundamentals that are already locked in. So I don't want you to think that buying this is going to fix everything wrong with your wellness because it won't. You really want to get a solid foundation in the non negotiables or the basics. And that's what my Wellness Without Limits audio challenge is all about. It's the perfect place to begin if you want to start with that, because you need to lay a foundation of the most important fundamentals for energy, for sleep, for stress, for movement before you can get the full benefit of supplements like creatine. And if that resonates with you and you want a quick, no fluff path to making that your reality, check out the show notes for the link to the Wellness Without Limits audio challenge. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for listening to Wellness for High Performers. Hopefully, this one has helped you decide if creatine is right for you. If this episode has helped you, please take a moment to share it with a friend or a colleague, or leave me a review wherever you listen to podcasts. In the meantime, until the next one, keep protecting your energy, keep honoring your well being, and I'll see you in the next episode. For deeper conversations like this, join me at elevays.com. That's ELEVAYS.com, and get on the list for my weekly newsletter, The Elite Edge. It's where I share insights you won't find anywhere else. I'll see you in the next episode, but until then, make time for what matters.